Assalamu alaikum guys, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to end this chapter. This is the topic which is related to the active transport, which is again it is a kind of movement of the molecules. In active transport, the movement of molecules from an area from lower concentration to the area of higher concentration. So please note that the osmosis and the diffusion are opposite to the active transport, okay, because here the lower concentration of the movement of the molecules, this is the definition, the movement of the molecules from an area of lower concentration to an area of higher concentration, okay. In this process, the carrier proteins of cell membrane, now see the same thing in same thing which was mentioned in diffusion. Carrier proteins, there we were talking about transport proteins, and here we are talking about carrier proteins. They use the energy, but in that case in diffusion there was no energy. See, here I will be writing about diffusion from lower concentration to higher. In diffusion it is from higher concentration to lower in case of diffusion. Then comes carrier proteins. In in diffusion we have transport proteins, but this is not a big difference, don't mention it in the differences. The main differences is this one: higher concentration to lower concentration happens uh, during diffusion, and the movement of molecules from an area of lower concentration to higher concentration. As I told you that if we are going to transport the molecules from lower to higher concentration, we are going to do it by the help of energy and force, and that is why we are going to use energy, okay. For example, here we have small number of molecules and we have to transport them here where we have so much molecule, okay. So this kind of transport from lower concentration to higher concentration is done with the help of energy. This I am talking about gases or any other place, but here they are talking about the cell membrane and the cell. This is done with the help of energy, and that is known as active transport. And now they are going to give you an example. The membranes of nerve cells have carrier proteins in the form of sodium potassium pump. In a resting, not conducting nerve impulse cells, this pump spends energy to maintain the. See now what this is a natural phenomena. Like, this is something natural. Naturally, normally, what happens is that the nerve cell has to maintain the concentration of potassium. This K is potassium, okay, and lower concentrations of sodiums inside the cell. So what it does, it spends energy. The energy here is known as ATP, adenosine triphosphate. This is again the currency of energy. So for this purpose the pump actively moves. Now they say actively, it moves actively. Actively means it uses energy and it moves it from higher concentration, sorry, from lower concentration to higher concentration, where they are already in higher concentration. So in active transport it is moving sodium. When you write sodium you have to write this plus, and when you write potassium you have to write this positive sign over it because it is an ion. Similarly, this pump moves potassium from outside or to inside where they are high. So there are two examples. Number one, sodium potassium pump has two examples of active transport. It uses energy to send the sodium outside, number one, and it uses energy where because sodium is already in higher concentration outside, but it is sending it outside, so active transport. Second example, it is moving potassium from outside to inside the cell where they are already in higher concentration. So in our cell, all these transports happen: active transport, diffusion, osmosis, filtration. But where does active transport happen? Here they gave you an example. The sodium potassium pump is the example of active transport. Okay, see here they are showing you the sodium. This is the potassium which is going inside, and these are the sodium which are going outside. So the sodium is already a higher concentration outside, but uh, it is going outside. This sodium is going outside, this sodium is going outside, and this potassium is coming inside. Okay, with the with the use of this energy which is ATP. Okay, inside of this is the inside of the cell, and this is the outside of the cell. Understand? And this active transport happens because of carrier proteins. You have to mention the carrier proteins. Please, if you have any confusion, please ask me. Okay, in diffusion and filtration, only small molecules can pass across the membrane. Which process would move the molecules faster? In diffusion and filtration, only small molecules can pass, but in case of active transport, larger molecules can also pass. This is extra information. Now we are coming towards the question. In diffusion and filtration, only small molecules can pass. Now they are asking you that larger molecules cannot pass through diffusion and larger molecules cannot pass through filtration from the membrane of the cell. So they say which is the fastest process. So filtration is the fastest process. And why? Because it happens because of the pressure. It is because of the pressure filtration. The pressure can be of blood and the pressure can be of water. So osmosis is a natural process and it happens with time. Filtration is a faster process, and active transport is a totally different process. It is opposite to diffusion and osmosis. Now endocytosis and pinocytosis, again this is active in this is important, this topic is important. It is the process of cellular ingestion. Ingestion means like eating. It is the process of cellular ingestion by the infolding of cell membrane. What is infolding of cell membrane? Usually your cell membrane can be like this, like in the form of a circle, but the infolding is like this. These are the infoldings. Okay, so the forms of endocytosis are phagocytosis and pinocytosis. So endocytosis has two forms, phago, pino. The phagocytosis is the cellular eating and the pinocytosis is the cellular drinking. Now they are going to explain you that the first of all the definition of phagocytosis. This is the definition of endocytosis. Endocytosis. Now the definition of phagocytosis is here. This is the definition of phagocytosis. The cell takes in solid material in while the in pinocytosis. This is the definition of pinocytosis. In case of pinocytosis, the cell takes in the liquid form of droplets. Okay, now how does this happen? Please see. Now here they are showing you two processes. One is endo and other one is exo. So endo means inner. Okay, here the endo means inner. Okay, and the exo means outer. So this exocytosis means something is moving out of the cell, and endo means something is moving outside the cell. So endo means in and Here exo means out. So exo means something is moving out of the cell, and exo means something is moving out of the cell, and endo means something is coming inside the cell. Okay, so this process, can you, if you see the process, this is a very bulky material. Now see the infolding of the cell membrane. This is the infolding of the cell membrane. Invagination means infolding and the opening of the cell membrane. Okay, cell membrane, this is the cell membrane. It because of the invagination of the cell membrane, this bulky material is coming inside and in the form of a vacuole. Okay, like vacuole means it has a membrane outside it. Why? Because it is going to eat, the cell is going to eat and digest, okay, this solid material. Now exocytosis, see it shows two processes. Okay, this is the first process, which is the endocytosis. Now they are showing the second process, which is the exocytosis. Okay, this is the process number 1 and this is number 2. It is the process through which bulky material is exported. This process adds new membrane to replace the part of the cell lost during the endocytosis. Now see, whenever anything is moving out of the cell, what happens here? You see loss of membrane. See, okay, here you have loss of membrane. The membrane is also going out. Like there is tearing of membrane. So cell membrane is lost. Now what is the function of exocytosis? It is exporting this material outside, and it is going to replace this membrane also. So what is the function? New membrane replaces the replaces something which is lost during endocytosis, and bulky material is exported out of the cell. Now we are going to discuss about the animal cells and plant cells. In the bodies of animals, there are many categories of cells. Epithelial cells, now again 4 types of cells they are mentioning: epithelial cell, connective cell, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. Okay, so epithelial tissue, see, our body has many different kind of tissues. Epithelial tissues cover the outside of the body, so and the outside and the lines of organs and cavities. So wherever we have skin, wherever we have organs, for example stomach, for example intestine, and cavities also, for example different cavities, for example cavities of nose and cavities of ears. So epithelial tissue is present outside of body. Lines, like lines organs means like outside of the organs, and cavities also outside. It is epi always means outside. Epi means outside. Thelial, wherever there is the word epithelial, it means there is something related to skin or the outside. The cell in this tissue are very closely packed together. See, first of all you write here, this is the location present where it is. The cell are very closely packed together. The tissue has many types. Now first type is number 1, squamous epithelium. See, squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium, ciliated columnar epithelium, and stratified squamous epithelium. The squamous epithelium it consists of a single layer of flat cells. Squamous epithelium consists of a single layer of flat cell. It is found in lungs, hearts, and blood vessels. So if you see the pictures here, single layer of flat cells, and it is found in the lungs. It means it is found in the organs, heart, and blood vessels. It allows the movement of materials across it. Why? Because the lungs move the oxygen, the heart moves the blood, and the blood also moves the blood across it. So it allows the movement of material across it, and it consists of a single layer. See here, this one is the squamous epithelium, and this is the single layer cell. Cuboidal epithelium consists of a single layer of cube shape. Now see, this is a cube shaped cell. It is found in the kidney tubes, small glands, and where it makes secretions. So first of all, see again right here location. It has a location and then a function also. Okay, then a function also. It makes secretion. So please make headings, it will be easy for you to learn. Columnar epithelium has elongated cells. So this one is the columnar epithelium and it has elongated cells. So you can see that the cells are really elongated, and and it is found in the alimentary canal, gallbladder, etc., where it makes secretions. Again, this makes secretions. Ciliated columnar epithelium. This one is the ciliated columnar epithelium. It has again elongated cells with cilia, and it is present in trachea and bronchi and propels mucus. Now, the reason why it is present in the trachea, because the air passes through the trachea, and in the bronchi also the air passes through the bronchi, and it propels this cilia here. They do the function of the cilia is to propel mucus. It means propel means avoid mucus, and it can trap easily the dust particles and the bacteria which come through the air into the trachea and the bronchi. These are the both the parts of the uh, bronchi are the parts of the lung, and the trachea are they are related to the tongue structure, and the trachea is related to the windpipe. Okay, stratified squamous epithelium. This has many layers of flat cells. This one is the stratified squamous epithelium, and it is present in the lining of the esophagus and mouth and over the skin. It protects the inner parts. It is thick, so it protects the inner parts. Many layers of cells protect the inner parts of the esophagus and the mouth. Now comes the connective tissues. As the name shows, connective tissue is connecting function. It supports the function of the connective tissue is the connection. Now it supports and binds with the other tissues, not like epithelial tissue. It has cell throughout the extracellular matrix. Like see, they are very closely packed together, the epithelial cells, but connective tissues they have scattered. They have scattered cells in the extracellular matrix, means outside the cells they are just scattered. Common examples are cartilage found around the ends of the bones. So cartilage is a common example which is found around the cells of the bones, external ear, nose, trachea, and bone also, and blood also. So these all things contain the connective tissue. Always remember, blood is a kind of tissue. Blood is a kind of which tissue? Connective tissue. The adipose tissue found around the kidneys, under skin, and adipose tissue is actually a fatty tissue. So it is present around the kidneys, under skin, abdomen. This is also connective tissues. Um, why? Because it is fatty. It has fatty material. That is why it provides energy and it supports the organs also. These connective tissue, they are talking about these ones: kidney, under skin, abdomen. They provide energy and support organs also. So these are the diagrams where they are showing the cartilage, the bone, the blood, and the adipose tissue. These are just scattered, irregularly scattered. Okay. Next one is the muscle tissue. Muscle tissue consists of bundles of long cells called muscle fibers. Now, all the tissues which are present in the muscles, it is the most abundant tissue. The cells of this tissue have the ability to contract. There are three kinds of muscle cells. Now, first of all, again, right here, like what is the structure? Long cells. The structure of this tissue, the location of this tissue, they are abundant tissue in animal and they are present in muscles. Muscle tissue are present in muscles. The function, they have the ability to contract. Please write the headings: skeletal muscles, smooth muscles, and cardiac muscles. So most of them have the same structure. Types of muscle tissues. Exercise does not increases the number of skeletal muscles, it enlarges. So whenever you see muscles in any kind of body, more muscles when you exercise, the number of muscles does not increase, but the number of muscle enlarges. Okay, so these are the diagrams. Nucleus, there is a muscle cell, there is striations. These these lines here, these are known as striations. Okay, these lines. These are known as striations. And smooth muscles look like this, and cardiac muscles are the muscles of the heart. Skeletal muscles are the muscles of the skeleton, and smooth muscles are present in stomach, etc. Skeletal muscles or striated muscles are attached to the bones. Their cells are striated. Striated means striped and contain many nuclei. They are responsible for the movement of the bones. So skeletal muscles, as you can see, responsible for the movement of the bones. The smooth muscles are found in the walls of the alimentary canal, urinary bladder, vessels. They contain non-striated cells. So there is one difference. Here they are striated, and here they are not striated. And the location is different, of course. Each with a single nucleus, they are responsible for the movement of the substances. The smooth muscles are responsible for the movement of substances in the alimentary canal, urinary bladder, blood vessels. Okay. Cardiac muscles are present in the wall of the heart. Location, wall of the heart. Their cells are also striated, but there is a single nucleus in each cell. So nucleus is one, and they produce heartbeat. Skeletal muscles are voluntary. Voluntary means we can move them with our own intentions, like we can do this by ourselves. Their contraction is under the control of our will. Smooth and cardiac muscles are involuntary. So these ones, smooth muscles and the cardiac muscles, are these two are involuntary, and the skeletal muscle, this one is voluntary. Okay, we can move this with our own will. Nervous tissue. The nervous tissue is that animal survival depends on its ability to respond appropriately to a stimuli. So the nervous tissue contains neurons, and you cannot live without nervous tissue, the ability to require the transmission of information among the parts of the body. Nervous tissue forms a communication system, and it has this task. This tissue is mainly composed of nerve cells and neurons. They conduct messages in the form of nerve impulses into the brain and the spinal cord. You already know the structure of the neurons. This is the structure of the neurons. And when you hear that epithelial tissue has tightly packed structure, what functions you expect? Barrier and protective functions. So epithelial tissues are tightly packed. What is the functions? Barrier and protective function, which I told you in case of the squamous epithelial cells, that they protect the esophagus. Now, different tissues in human body: epithelial, muscle tissue, nervous tissue, bone, cartilage, and blood. Here they are showing you different locations of the tissue. Now come towards the plant tissue. The same way the as the animals have tissues, the plants also have tissues, and these tissues are meristematic tissues. Meristematic tissues, so plants have two types of tissues. Okay, number one is the simple tissues, and number two are the compound tissues or the complex tissues. Okay, Sim- plants plants have two kinds of tissues, number one and number two. Number one is simple, and number two is complex. Complex or compound tissues. Okay, so here we are reading about the simple tissues. The simple tissues have they are of two types: meristematic and permanent. The simple tissues are of two types: the meristematic and the permanent tissues. No, they are of actually four. So simple tissues are of two types. Number one is the meristematic, and the second one is the permanent. In case of meristematic, you only have to learn the names of the meristematic tissues, which is the apical meristem. Just learn about just we have to learn this. These tissues are composed of cells which have the ability to divide. The cells are thin-walled, large nucleus, small or no vacuoles. So actually meristematic tissues are those which can divide easily. They are present in the at the tips of the roots, and they are present in the roots and the shoots, the tip of the root and the tip of the shoot, because of growth purposes. So they have no spaces between them, no intercellular spaces, means the spaces between the cell, no intercellular spaces between them. Two main types of apical of meristematic tissues are recognized in plants: apical meristem and lateral meristem. Now you only have to learn the names of these because of your reduced syllabus. This is the diagram, the longitudinal section of a root tip, where you can see the this is the apical meristem, the type of the tissue we are talking about. And again, here you can also see the transverse section, the cork cambium. Here is the vascular cambium and the cork cambium. This is also a type of tissue which is the meristematic tissue. Okay, now you have to know the lateral meristems are of two types: vascular cambium and cork cambium. Here, see, only have to learn the names. See, the vascular cambium and the cork cambium are the type of lateral meristems, and apical meristems are present in the tip of roots. Please just know this point, that the apical meristem are responsible for this kind of growth, like the length, longitudinal growth, and the lateral meristems are responsible for the girth, the thickness of the plant. Okay, thickness of the roots and the shoots. Okay, this is just one thing which is important for you to know. The permanent tissues are the tissues which are, so we are done with the uh, simple tissues. Now we are coming towards the permanent tissues. So the permanent tissues are those tissues which originate from the meristematic tissue. Actually, meristematic tissues give rise to the permanent tissue. They do not have the ability to divide. Now, meristematic tissues divide, but permanent tissues do not divide. The permanent tissues, they they are they originate from meristematic tissues, and they cannot divide. Okay, these two important points. Now comes the epidermal tissues. The epidermal tissues are composed of a single layer of cells. They cover the plant body. They Now, single layer of cells, it covers the plant body. So you just have to learn the name of types only. The epidermal, see the permanent tissue. So you only have to learn the names of the permanent tissues. Number one is epidermal tissue. Okay, then comes the next one. Just see the diagrams also. Okay, number two is the ground tissue. In the ground, number two, yes, number two is the ground tissue. And this one is number two. In the ground, tissues are made up of parenchyma cells. So again, a name, parenchyma cells, and they have a thin primary cell wall first in leaves. Now leaves have, ground tissues are of two types, parenchyma and mesophyll. Again, the names only. So ground tissues are of two types, parenchyma and mesophyll. Okay, now comes the next one. Here we are discussing about the permanent tissues. First is the epithelial tissue, second is the ground tissue. Ground tissue is of two types, parenchyma and mesophyll, just the names only. Now comes the support tissues. Support tissue has again types. Support tissue is the third permanent tissue. Okay, third permanent tissue. Support tissue is the third permanent tissue. Now it has types. Number one is the collenchyma tissue. Just learn the names. Okay, now, and the second one is sclerenchyma. This is the second one, which is the sclerenchyma tissues. Now we come towards the compound and the complex tissue. Again, just we are going through the names. The complex tissues, number one is the xylem and number second is the phloem. So in case of xylem, no other names are here. And in case of phloem, phloem contains sieve tube cells, and it contains sieve tube cells and here sieve tube cells and the companion cells. Okay, just going through the names. Okay, birds fly by flapping their wings. What do you think is the type of muscle responsible for flapping the wings? So the skeletal muscle is responsible for flapping the wings. Now coming towards the exercise, which of the clues would you tell if it is a prokaryotic or a eukaryotic? Okay, guys, girls, just simply go through the reduced syllabus and mention these MCQs, which of them are a part of your syllabus and which of them are not a part of your syllabus, and try to solve the exercise. I'll be helping you for that.